Yuno steps up, gaining new anti-magic and wielding Asta's own sword. But don't celebrate yet, because this is the moment Yuno will actually die. Lucius goes full god mode, absorbing every grimoire in existence. So seriously, how can they possibly win now? Guess what? Yuno powers up and turns off his Neverland spell that is protecting the entire kingdom. In this huge gamble, as Yuno becomes a glass cannon with a limited time span, he's focusing on winning, trusting that the fodder can hold their own. However, that is a lot to ask for, Yuno. Like, Asta is dead, which dispels all the anti-magic he gave the squad, making them weaker, and Neverland was boosting the power of allies and weakening the enemy. So all of them basically need to surpass their limits to buy time. Yuno then goes on the offensive, landing attacks on Lucius, but bro claims that, bruh, it's too late. There is nobody that could ever hope to beat me anymore. That's when Asta extends his Demon Dweller and passes it on, which is a direct parallel to the battle against Lucifero, by the way. At that point, Yuno assisted with his star magic, but this time Asta is giving anti-magic. Now, if you're wondering why Yuno can use Asta's spells now, shouldn't it negate his own magic? Well, we don't care, because Tabata could peak, and that's when Yuno's new transformation is revealed. He harnesses the power of anti-magic, making his star magic and all his weapons black. Yuno states they are not running away from battle. Instead, Lucius will be meeting his grave. However, in all honesty, this is Tabata's writing putting an end to his character. Remember that, according to series editor Fukuda, it was originally planned for Yuno to die in chapter 7, but he advised Tabata not to do that because Yuno functions as a permanent yardstick for Asta's growth. Losing Yuno that soon in the story would have robbed future arcs and their potential rivalry. Fast forward to now, Lucius has seen hundreds of timelines, and in every single one, Asta is not his rival. This is a misconception in the community. Remember that Lucius, he always declares that Yuno is his rival. Now, why is that? Because no matter how many futures Lucius observes, Yuno is always the last one standing, the lone knight facing down the end of the world. Lucius even admits that in one of those timelines, Yuno grew up as a Spade Kingdom king, mastering star magic in a few years and reached the peak of his power. And even then, Lucius still killed him and won. That was the strongest version of Yuno. But the current timeline is affected by Asta, which has made all those affected by him grow stronger, and it has changed everything. Keep in mind that Noelle was never meant to be as strong as she is now. Siscolion was meant to be dead, and Yuno is included in that phenomena. This is proven by Lucius himself, stating that there's only one timeline he thinks they can gain victory, which is Yuno being a singularity, a life forged with two souls, one of which is being the Prince of Spade born with star magic, and an elf soul gifted with wind magic. But here's the catch, the elf soul never left his body. Unlike every other reincarnated elf, this one stayed with him for a reason. In chapter 308, Yuno acknowledges the elf soul within him as a part of his identity and makes up all of who he is. But in a haunting moment in chapter 331, Yuno's mother warns him, there are things you must know, even if you're not ready. Yuno learned about the Spade Kingdom prophecy, a star prince destined to stand against the apocalypse. Now Lucius knows this, and that's why he calls Yuno his true rival across all time. However, here's where it gets even more scary. Lucius has been targeting his enemy's souls and can kill you if he touches it. He just gained the two magic types that completely counter Yuno. The chains seal away all magic as shown, but Guelder also poses a problem. Lucius can now use his invincibility magic to make himself undetectable to mana and immune to magic spells whilst it's active. Guelder even fooled an elf doing this and all the Magic Knight captains. So unlike Asta, Yuno cannot detect ki, so he will have to use other means to catch Lucius with anti-magic. But given that the dude can teleport with time, it's obvious Lucius will touch Yuno's soul to kill him. So if Lucius does achieve that, Which soul died? Well, I think it's the elf one. Yuno would lose his wind magic, his bond with Belle, and half of who he is. He will be unconscious and everyone will think he's dead across the entire kingdom, which would give Asta the motivation he needs to surpass his limits and never give up on his friend, especially his brother who promised to fight for the title of Wizard King with him. This fulfills Tabata's original plan to kill Yuno without actually removing him from the story, because there's a Black Clover rule. No one dies in this series, right? Jack don't count, we don't give a shit about him.
Let me tell you, we don't care. Jerry.
So eventually, Yuno will make one last assist for our MC to get the dub against Lucius. He can use star magic one last time to support Asta's final Zetan strike against the crystal on Lucius' chest. That's how both their journeys get honored for saving the world. So yeah, Yuno will technically die, but he will live on witnessing Asta gain the title of Wizard King. Now to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video on your screen right now.